Hello everybody, this is AskJoshy interviewing Chakki on Team Dignitas. Why don't you introduce yourself with your full name and what you do?
Hi, I'm Chakki. My real name is Keaton Gill. I'm a professional Hearthstone player right now for Team Dignitas, and I'm at the eSports arena in Anaheim? Santa Ana, California.
Yeah, all these cities down here kind of run together. Anaheim's like one over, but pretty close. Yeah, so we're at the eSports arena, as he said, for a $25,000 tournament. Brian Kibler is hosting and casting, and you're going to be playing in it against the likes of Zixo, Jab, Trump. What do you think about the other competitors that are here for this event?
There's definitely a lot of tough competition in this. I mean, there's other people that have won tournaments, placed really high in tournaments, so nothing out of the usual, not going to be any free wins, but I still think I'll do pretty well.
Sweet. So what was the last big event that you placed in?
The last big event I actually played in was DreamHack Summer, and I got top 4 there out of 128 people, so did pretty well there. Would have liked to win, but top 4 is still pretty solid.
How'd your road to BlizzCon end up?
My road to BlizzCon actually took kind of an unfortunate ending. I mean, I guess unlucky isn't a great word considering I had control over most things, but I mean, I got 24th in the top 23 cut of points, so I was the #1 seed for the last chance qualifier, and I lost in that to Strelzik, who went on to make it to regionals, played in that, and he ended up falling just a little short there too, so yeah, that's how my road to BlizzCon went. Wasn't that spectacular this year. If I could go back and do anything about it, I probably would have just focused a lot more on ladder over the year, and I think I could have easily gotten in top 23, if not just top 8.
And that's just for points, right? To be in the separate division, the higher division.
Yep.
Play a lot less games, less chances of busting out. But what do you feel about the whole Hearthstone World Championship system that took place this year? Ladder obviously was a very big component, and then you earn points for things like DreamHacks and smaller cups as well. How do you like the system overall?
There were a lot of nice things about it, but at the same time, there were some kind of different things about it this year. One thing that kind of is coming up is players are just grinding a lot more. Like, Stan Sifka made a Reddit post about how he actually was in the same situation as me. He got 24th in a top 23, and I guess he had problems with the server ending on time in Asia. He was playing all 3 servers, which some players are doing now, just to really like try hard, get all the points. So that's kind of a direction I don't think anyone really wants it to go towards, is where, you know, if you want to be competitive, you have to play all day, every day Hearthstone. You need to play all 3 servers, stuff like that. I don't want to do that. I don't think many people want to do that, so I would expect something like that to change next year. The tournament system was pretty solid. It does kind of favor the people that get invited constantly, so that was a little bit of a flaw that's kind of evident. But overall, I think it went pretty well. I think we got pretty good representatives for the different regions.
Yeah, this year Trump actually beat Firebat to make it to the top 8. He's probably the most recognizable name in the list that'll be playing in San Francisco, but you also have players like Jab, who are making it for a second consistent year after playing ladder every single month, all the way to top legend every single month. I always get the feeling, watching from home, that you could burn out very easily with the system that is in place right now. What do you think about a move towards something more like a league system, where literally these top elite guys are the only ones actually competing? Maybe there are avenues for any regular Joe to actually make it, but maybe have them be the ones at the end of the year that play the 100-man qualifiers to try and get in with the guys who've already proven themselves. What do you think about a system like that, where you obviously would be, in that sort of contention for a league format rather than an open format?
I think that's kind of a nice idea for other tournaments, but I think for like the World Championship specifically, I think Blizzard really wants that to just feel like completely open, no bias towards anyone, which obviously this year it kind of did have a little bit of bias towards players getting invited, so I'd expect them to sort of change that up, have that, the road to BlizzCon is this whole huge open thing, advertised, anyone can do this if you put in the time and effort and you're good enough. So I'd expect that to remain pretty open, if not even more open next year. Maybe a little less focus on ladder. I think they need to find kind of a nice balance between finding a way to make tournaments for it, but it definitely would take a lot of effort, and I think that's kind of why they're hesitant to make an entire tournament circuit around it. It costs a lot of money, costs a lot of time and manpower.
So would you say you're in favor of allowing, everyday, regular, like Fireside Gathering attendees and stuff like that, allow them to just have just as much chance as any pro, no favoritism, basically?
Yeah, I think the no favoritism system for the World Championship, at least, is definitely the way it should remain. As far as, that's one thing ladder does do correctly, is that anyone can really log in and play ladder, and that's one of the things that I do think they should kind of restrict it to. You can only play maybe one region per month, because not everyone can really afford all 3 servers, all 3, card collections, and then on top of that be playing every server every month. So it is kind of a little bit out of reach of the regular person, but that is kind of good in a way that you can practice and play a lot more and actually get rewarded for that.
Okay, so you've been playing Hearthstone since very early beta, basically, and you've been a part of several organizations, Coast and Mana Grind, etc., and now you're with Dignitas. How is Dignitas treating you as a Hearthstone pro? Do they send you all over the place? Like, what is the pro team organization's involvement with you? Like, what is their responsibility and such?
Yeah, Team Dignitas has definitely been the best team I've been on out of the ones I have been. I was kind of in the OG of Hearthstone, where I was on kind of those new teams starting up at the very beginning. They weren't really professional organizations, more of startups, and it was a struggle. We couldn't really send players places. We had to have that paid for, by the tournament. Now that I'm on Dignitas, they're in full support of our team. They'll send us basically anywhere where we request to go. Within a limit, but they haven't denied me for a single tournament yet. So for this one, it was kind of just hey, they want to send me here, and it was, yeah, sure, we'll get you the hotel, we'll get you the flight, and they got me out here within a few days.
Excellent. That's the kind of support all these up and coming players are looking for. Do you have any advice for players who are maybe on the edge, who have maybe laddered all year, played in the last chance qualifiers, all that kind of stuff? What sort of extra steps do they need to take to be able to be added to a professional team rather than just a solo effort?
I really think the biggest thing to get picked up by a team is to just do something different. It's kind of like getting a job. You just have to stand out from the rest of the competition. One of the simplest ways, it's not easy, but if you constantly place at #1 legend, you will get noticed. That is one of the ways. A person like 6-0 got #1 on all 3 servers at once. That was something no one had ever done. So just kind of finding things like that and doing it and streaming it and just putting yourself out there as a person that can do things that no one else in the community can. You will get support, you will get seen, and then eventually teams will notice that and pick you up.
Okay, so marketability, being visible basically on your own is a good start for pro teams to want to at least take note of you. That's good advice. Do you think that you've learned a lot since you became a pro Hearthstone player? What's a valuable lesson maybe that you could share with aspiring pro gamers?
I've definitely learned, it's not really as easy as it kind of seems. A lot of people just play video games casually, and you kind of that's the dream, to just play video games as my job, because then, they think it's not a job, but definitely still is a job, especially if you do the streaming hours, the traveling, the tournaments, and you just keep on it. Like a person like Forsen that is basically, he can't turn it off. He's streaming every day, he's traveling all the time. He puts in a lot of hours, to make the money he does, to keep the fan base he does, and so it's not really as simple as waking up and playing video games for him. It is his job.
Yeah. Okay. That's all good as well. Is there anything, any specific moments or memories that you'll always have now because you are a pro Hearthstone player? What's something that you'll never forget that was only possible because you're playing Hearthstone?
I'm not really sure I have a specific moment in mind. I haven't really ever won a LAN event, so there's no kind of big crowning achievement for me or anything. I think the most enjoyable event was still just Fight Night, the first ever thing I went to. Kind of just met up with my team. Some of the people that I met there were, we were basically nobodies, and now, I mean, Forsen was there. He was there at the very beginning. Now he's huge. Artosis was there helping out Hearthstone at the beginning. Frodan was kind of this new caster that had transitioned from StarCraft, and it was kind of shaky at the beginning. People were like, I don't know about this guy, and he really kept at it and made it. So I think Fight Night was just the most memorable thing about Hearthstone to me. It was just seeing all those people that, Hearthstone is just this unknown frontier, and we had the passion and just kept at it and made something out of it.
Yeah, I like that answer a lot. The early days of any esport are very, very memorable because it's very exciting to see where everyone ends up, like you're talking about. I remember in StarCraft 2, just seeing where all the players ended up and all the casters and stuff like that. It's all stuff that you look back on fondly because, in a year from now, 2 years from now, all this Hearthstone esports stuff could go away. Like, that's the industry that we're in. Do you think that when and if Hearthstone does start to curtail, would you be at a point in your life where you would continue gaming and trying to keep up the lifestyle of a pro, or do you think you would basically hang it up? If Hearthstone ended next year, let's say this time next year, and you didn't quite make it to BlizzCon, what would be next for you?
Well, before I played Hearthstone, I did play League of Legends at a kind of semi-pro level. I was around Challenger level and kind of floating on some Challenger teams and trying to make it in that. And it's a pretty brutal scene. I mean, you have people that kind of get sniped out of Challenger teams by pro orgs, and then your team falls apart. Suddenly you have nothing, and there goes a waste of a year. So, I mean, trying to make it in certain games, if you don't immediately make it, is pretty difficult. I think I caught a few breaks in Hearthstone and put in enough effort that it came really nicely to me, but I don't think there's another game like that right now that I could just easily kind of transition to, and I probably wouldn't look to try to force my way to stay into esports or anything. So I guess I'd probably just go back to school if Hearthstone were to kind of come down anytime soon.
Gotcha. Let's just talk a little bit about what is your vision of the future for Hearthstone esports? Let's say next year a new system comes out that's points-based, something similar, something we're familiar with. Let's say there's planned maybe 2 expansions during the year, and they keep adding to the card pool. Do you feel like there will be drastic change in anything that we're seeing? Like over the last year, we've seen a lot of the same faces, a lot of the same, dream hacks and invitationals and stuff like that. Do you picture it ever changing up, really, or are we basically set in stone at this point?
Well, I mean, DreamHack is coming to America next year for the first time. Maybe more organizations like eSports Arena is brand new. We're right here. This is their first event. So there are still some new faces kind of coming into the scene. I see it as kind of still growing in that aspect. As far as the actual game, I definitely would like it kind of to go towards a much more competitive format with kind of just one thing I really liked. It was actually at Fight Night, was they had a pick and ban format for our ace match. I felt like that added a lot of just strategic depth to the game, and that could be something maybe for a different format. I feel like right now a lot of players aren't very pleased with how Conquest is. It's more of a just bring 3 really all-around decks, and we've seen that. I mean, in the regional qualifiers from North America and Europe, it was something like 12 Druids, 11 Warlocks, and 10 Warriors out of 14. So the class diversity is kind of not at a great spot right now, but I definitely think that, having played other card games, every card game kind of has a glorious period where people are like, man, this format is really skillful, there's a lot of different deck choices you can make, and new stuff's winning every tournament. I think that Hearthstone kind of can still get to that point, and I do have faith in the people designing the cards. I know a lot of them personally. I know they have really great intentions. I don't think the Grand Tournament, was up to many fans' expectations as far as competitive cards coming out of it. I don't know how Blizzard really felt about it, but I'd look to the future and say hopefully we have some really nice sets coming.
Cool. Well, thanks very much for all this insight that you're providing. Do you want to say thanks to any teammates or sponsors or friends or anything like that to end the interview?
Yeah, just thanks to my team, Team Dignitas, my teammates, Blackout, Green Sheep, and Kranich. Kranich just qualified for BlizzCon a second time in a row, so check him out there. Big thanks to them just for sending me here, and just thanks to all my friends in Hearthstone. It's really what keeps me going. All the people back all the way since Fight Night, and all the people I've met since then.
Where can we find you on Twitch and Twitter?
My Twitch and Twitter are just both at Chakki_HS.
All right, thanks very much, man. I wish you good luck in the tournament here at Esports Arena and in the coming years with Team Dignitas. Thanks very much.
Yep, thank you.